Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Health Made Simple Show. I'm your host, Dr. Bart, and today we're going to do a bit of a deep dive into the conversation of women and protein. So, man, this conversation 100% fully applies to you, but the reason I'm going to say women and protein is because clinically I find that women, for the most part, are significantly depleted in protein. And today I'm going to get into the reasons of why this is not okay and so many of the health challenges that women have, if they started literally just eating more protein in their lives, could be the answer to so many of those different challenges. With that being said, thank you once again for being here. Appreciate that you're hanging out with me here today on the Health Made Simple Show. Keep doing the thing. Keep sharing it out. Keep spreading the love. Get an opportunity, go ahead into wherever you love to watch or listen to your favorite podcast, which hopefully this is in the top, if not the top. Go ahead and leave us a review. 5-star would be awesome. If you have a comment, if you have a question, get to it. We appreciate it all. All of those things, they do help because they then help us with the ability to expose our podcasts and our thoughts and our trainings, whatnot, to more and more people. And the goal is we continue just to help people recognize that health is simple. It really is. We're designed this way. We were designed to be healthy. We're designed to be strong. We're designed to be experiential in this thing that we call life. And sometimes we get a little off track. So today we'll talk about protein and its role for women. All right. That being said, this is what we're going to do. We're going to talk about the top 5 reasons that protein is super important for women. So listen up. Most likely, the ones I need to listen. All women, every age group, the teenagers, the 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 50-years-olds, and my menopausal women probably all need to hear this because overall, I would say that most women are nutritionally deficient, and it is a problem that is leaking into their health in many, many ways. All right, so let's talk about number one. Number one, I wouldn't say these are in any particular order. Number one reason protein is really important for women is for muscle mass. And this is important, ladies. And do not tell me, oh, well, I don't want to get bulky. No, that doesn't happen. So here's why you want to eat protein when it comes to muscle mass. And then number two is going to be about weight management. But muscle mass is this. Muscle mass is going to increase your metabolic activity. It's going to make you a stronger human being, a more confident human being, and a much more balanced human being. We cannot have what we call skinny fat, which kind of ties into number two here. Yet muscle mass, being a strong human being who happens to be a woman, is critically important for your survival. We know that things like grip strength is critically important for women, especially as you age, so you don't do things like fall, and then you fall because you can't grab onto a railing or brace yourself, or when you go to hit the ground, hold your body up. You go crashing to the floor because you are not strong enough. We end up with things like broken hips, and that, if you, depending on what time of your life you're in, what phase, what category of life you're in, that could be literally close to a death sentence. So there's so many reasons we want to stay strong, but number one reason for more protein is we need to build more muscle in our bodies. Just that by itself would probably solve most of your health issues. All right, number two is this. Protein is probably the most significant food category when it comes to managing weight loss. This is a biggie. So here's what I know, that protein and fat will help you become satiated. No salad will ever help you become satiated. Yes, you will feel full, but you will always be looking for food afterwards. And that's when you have to start fighting the demons of cravings and wanting for sugar and stuff like that. You've eaten a big old salad, but it never satisfies you. Maybe it does emotionally for the moment because you think you've done something really good. But if you want to satisfy your body wants only two things from you. It wants essential amino acids and it wants essential fatty acids. And that's what we call, folks, fats and proteins. If you give yourself more fats and proteins, you will find yourself, especially around food, more emotionally balanced because you're going to be more satiated. You're going to feel better by putting more protein. Here's the nice thing. We don't need to count. I'll give you some numbers to work with, but nonetheless, we don't need to count everywhere in nature. Nature always provides fat and protein together. There's almost no situation that I can think of that there's only a fat or only a protein. They always come together. So don't separate them. Don't start counting how many fat grams you are, because when they come together, they're always designed in a very perfect way from nature. That being said, when we're talking about protein, let's go back here. The protein that I'm mostly referring to as the best protein, the most bioavailable protein for women and men is going to be proteins from animals. Can you get your protein from vegetables? You sure can. It is much, much more difficult. Maybe the bioavailability is probably less than 5 to 1, meaning that you're going to have to eat a lot more. And you're going to have to be very, very smart where those sources come from, making sure that you're getting complete protein sources. Yet our bodies, our DNA, have been eating animal proteins since the development of mankind. So it is just going to make it a little bit easier to get into the swing. Now, in a moment here, I'll talk about why a lot of women don't. And especially as we age, we see older women no longer liking things like red meat or liking proteins. And they say that they sit in their belly and they feel real heavy when they do this and they start to lean away. And we'll discuss that in just a moment here. So, number one, we want muscle mass. It's an important reason to make sure that you continue to eat protein. Number two is weight management. And there's nothing that is going to satiate you more than your fats and your proteins. So get yourself a good grass-fed burger, and your burgers are going to do better than your chickens because they're so lean, etc. So how many grams? How many grams do you think we should eat? I'm going to give you some numbers. I don't like the idea of us, always needing to count. Food shouldn't be that complicated. Bringing nutrients into our body. Yet sometimes, for a short period of time, a couple of days, week, maybe 2 weeks at a time, to monitor how many grams of protein you bring into your body could be a huge eye opener. So let's say you're a 150-pound female, you're moderately active, a minimum should be half your body weight in ounces. So let's just say that's 75 grams. Let's make that real for a moment. And I would say, and we'll walk through, are you getting even close to that? So again, half of your body weight, and this is a starting point, ladies. Let's just say you're 150 pounds, half of that is 75. That would be 75 grams a day. A chicken breast, a half a chicken breast, which is maybe a typical serving, would be about 30 grams. If you eat some eggs that morning, let's just say you have 6 eggs, they're 5 or 6 grams equivalent, 5 or 6 grams of protein per. So now you get another 30-ish. So you have 6 eggs, a chicken breast, and you're still not there. So my question is, do you think you're nutrient deficient when it comes to protein? Do you think every now and then, yes, you say, well, I ate chicken, I ate eggs, and I had a burger on that particular day. And that's about what it would take. So a burger, a quarter pounder, say just regular old hamburgers, probably about 20 grams. Let's say you have a chicken breast, 30. A quarter pounder cheeseburger, not from McDonald's, but to say about, you get one of those pound things. You make 4 burgers, you eat one of them. That's about 20 grams. So now you're up to about 50 grams. And you need roughly 25 more. So let's just say about 4 to 5 more eggs. So chicken breast, a burger, and 4 or 5 eggs per day, and you've hit your minimum. If you're trying to get that in plant proteins, good luck. You will be eating all day throughout the course of the day just to try to kind of plow some plant proteins in. So do we think that generally across the board, most women are deficient in protein? Absolutely, folks. Yes. This is one of the reasons there's so much of a struggle for so many people when it comes to weight loss management, because they're not eating enough protein, in which they're not eating protein. What are they eating? All kind of other things that are filling their bodies up, but they're not satisfying the needs of the human body. All right, let's keep moving here. Number 3 is hormone regulation. Boy, this would be a wonderful one to just get a grip on. So this is for young ladies. And I'm talking about my teenagers who are just starting to cycle. What are their diets? Predominantly made up of carbohydrates. That is, they fast track to have an imbalanced hormonal system. Is eat a lot of carbs through the course of the day. And when we become more emotional, eat more carbs. I know it's uncomfortable and unfamiliar to start eating grass-fed burgers without the bun, without the fries, without the chips, without the soda. But that is one of the fastest ways you're going to start to create a balanced hormonal system, because it is those fats and those proteins that are making up so many of those different hormones in terms of production, in density, in volume, and all of them. So if we want to have hormone balance, we have to have the foods in our body that help make them. So now we have muscle mass is important. We have weight management would be beneficial if we had more protein in our lives, and also hormone regulation. And yes, that means things like irregular cycles, PMS. So having the proper amount of building blocks. And remember, that's what proteins really are. So we break them down. They're amino acids. And those amino acids are considered building blocks. And those are the building blocks of things like your cells, of things like your hormones, of your muscles, of your bones. All of these things are made from these amino acids, these building blocks that we get in proteins. All right, moving on here. Bone health. And this is a huge one. So when you're young, you're probably not thinking much about your bone health, where I do want you to think about your bone health, but especially if you're in menopause. Ladies, listen up on this one. So when you reach menopause, about 5 years after menopause, that means no cycle for 12 months. Once you get to that point, within the first 5 years, you lose about 10% of your bone density. And I'm going to give you a little secret. This isn't because you don't have enough calcium. I know that's the big push and that's the kind of the mindset, but not that calcium is important. Yet, hear me out here. What happens is that estrogen is part of the system that creates what we call osteoblasts. Blast with the B. Osteoblasts build cells. They help build bone. When we decrease estrogen, that's what's going to happen in your menopausal state. We no longer have that activity taking place. You don't have as many osteoblasts. So the body has to make up for it somehow. And the way that it makes up for it and the way you're going to do this naturally is by having an abundance of amino acids, which means an abundance of animal proteins. If you go into menopause and you're not eating proteins, you're going to most likely see a rapid decline in bone density and then eventually be diagnosed with osteoporosis. And that is a very, very standard thing. Does that mean you go on some magical drug to fix it? No. The magic is getting it back into your diet, getting it back in and practicing in such a way that I'm not just talking about a little piece of chicken every day. We're talking about getting half your body weight, a minimum of ounces of grams in your body per day. Now, that being said, in the beginning, if you're hearing this and you go, oh my goodness, and you go out and eat all that I just described, you get 75 grams tomorrow and you're going from 15 or 20 to 75. Some of you are probably in the 10 to 15. Oh, I eat an egg in the morning and then I have salad at night and then I have some soup or a sweet potato in the day. When I go through so many of my clients and I map out for them the amount of protein that they have, it is more common that women are under 40 grams per day than they are above 75. So, which means they're massively deficient in the building block of the human body: hormones, weight regulation, muscle mass, hormone regulation. I think I already said that, in bone health. So, as we age, especially once you get into menopause, having the amino acids are absolutely super, super, super important. Now, the challenge is this: there's a reason, especially as women get older, men too, I guess, as women get older, we kind of traditionally see grandma kind of only eating like the little cracker or the little piece of bread. She doesn't have much of an appetite. She's just this little frail little lady. And I'm going to say, if you want to be that person, you don't want to be that person. You want to be strong grandma. You want to be robust grandma, the one that can pick up the grandkids, the one that can go down to the beach and can walk on her own, all those good things that life has to offer us. But to do those things, we have to be strong. We have to make sure that we are feeding the body what it needs, the tools to be able to build things like bone and muscle. The challenge is that more often than not, the stomach is not prepared for all these proteins. So do I think that calcium is the number one supplement we should be on for ladies that are, in menopause? Absolutely not. I think the absolute number one, most important one is a very non-sexy but critically important one it's a digestive enzyme. I use one called Zypan. Zypan is a digestive enzyme that adds hydrochloric acid to the stomach. The reason that even kids for that matter, don't want the proteins, because when they eat them, they feel like there's a big heaviness to it. So if you eat red meat and be like, man, I just don't think it's good for me anymore. Every time I eat it, it feels so heavy. Please hear me when I say this. There's nothing wrong with the red meat. It means that your body can't break it down, and that is not okay. That means that your stomach acid is no longer strong enough to be able to digest that protein, and therefore you can't get the nutrients you need from it. So then you lean to foods that don't need hydrochloric acid to break it down. Things like bread and muffins and pasta and cereals and potatoes. All of these things that, yes, they raise our blood sugar, they lower our immune system, they increase dysregulation in our hormones. They start to create all these other dysfunctions in the body simply because we don't have enough hydrochloric acid. So I think the number one supplement, way before calcium supplements, because I know when we talk bone health, a lot of people think I need more calcium. We hear the word osteoporosis, we think I need more calcium. You need the ability to break your food down properly, and therefore when you're eating the proper food, your body can build the proper tissues, the muscles, the bone, whatever it may need. It will do that because you have to give the body the raw materials to work with. And if we're just eating carbohydrate diets, we're just eating pasta and salads, you will not get the building blocks. All right. Last but not least is your immune function. Your immune function requires things like amino acids, requires things like proteins and good fats in order to function strongly. So when we roll these out, should women be eating more protein? Absolutely. I could say that clinically without a doubt that most women are not only deficient, but they're significantly deficient. And if they just you got to get good at it first. I mean, you got to help your stomach be able to digest your food. So Zypan is my absolute first, probably most important when it comes to your ability to digest your proteins. So you can do that and you can do it readily and easily. Going back to the bone health for a moment, even prior to calcium, I would give you a digestive enzyme and then I would give you vitamin D. We use something called Cataplex D. I typically will start you off on about 6 tablets a day, ramp it up for 2 or 3 months at a time, get your levels back to a nice normal level. It's a very easy thing to test. If you've never tested your vitamin D, it's gotten very simple, very easy now. There's a home test you can take. We'd be happy to send you one if you want one. You take your test and you make sure that you got enough vitamin D in your body. I find that the majority of people, over 85%, and I'm living here in Florida, over 85% of the people that I test are deficient in vitamin D. I think one of the predominant reasons is because our gut health is a mess. We don't have enough fatty acids in our body with things like our fish oils and or the omega-3s that we get when we eat animal proteins like grass-fed burgers, like sardines, like eggs. So what would I think? Do I think it's more important to get vitamin D as a supplement prior to calcium? I do. So that would be my order for you, to get Zypan, which is your digestive enzyme, and vitamin D. And then quite frankly, all your calcium, eat it. It's in your vegetables, it's in your meats, it's in everything. So rarely it we use a lot of calcium in our office, but primarily because so many people ask for it. Rarely do I put it in the top 5. You need this because it's absolutely, calcium is one of the ones that you can get from your diet. If no matter how long as you're eating a whole food diet, you can get plenty of calcium into your diet. All right, so a little rewind here and just kind of an overview of everything here. Is protein important for women? Absolutely. It is one of the things I run into clinically that is just a conversation that happens every single time I do a consult. And with a little side note here, if you do want to do a consult with me, very simple. You just reach out to our office, no matter where you live, where you're listening to this podcast. We can order you labs, we can get you the requisites, then we can sit down. We do a Zoom very similar to this, and we can map out whatever your needs are to help you with whatever needs and desires that you have. So easy breezy there. I'll make sure there's a link below. So top 5 things, 5 reasons. Top 5 reasons that women should eat more protein. Number 1, muscle mass. The stronger you are, the stronger you are. Real simple. Number 2 is weight management. It is the hidden secret. It's not a secret, but it is the most overlooked component when it comes to women and weight loss. It's flat out they're eating too many foods that are non-proteins. So just start eating more animal proteins and you will become more satiated and you will stop eating all the other stuff. When you eat your salads, you are never satiated. So therefore you always have a food demon asking you to go eat some more food. So give yourself a little break, eat some more animal fats and proteins. Number 3 is hormone regulation. Everyone would be better off if everyone balanced their hormones just a little bit. And to do so, you need the building blocks. And those are the amino acids and the fats that come from animal proteins. Bone health, absolutely, especially if you are in menopause, you need more animal proteins because, again, those amino acids are the building blocks that you're going to be using to build more muscle, which can give you the opportunity to then put more density onto your body to do things like exercise and then build more bone for your body. And last but not least, your immune system requires amino acids and fats as a way to protect you and your body. All right, with that being said, make sure you do the best that you can. Share this with someone that you know that maybe isn't eating enough protein. And then we gave you the sources and the kind of the tools to help you start to do this. And truthfully, a lot of you're going to need the tools because your body is not used to breaking down those proteins. So digestive enzyme, the one we use in our office, a lot of good ones out there. The one we use in our office is called Zypan. I'll make sure they put a link in below for it. Usually take 2 of them anytime before you eat an animal protein. And then my second one, before we even get into the calcium, would be vitamin D. All right, with that being said, keep doing your thing, keep sharing it out, keep spreading love, and always keep taking better care of your mind, your body, your overall wellness. You'll be awesome.